Picture a tree in the middle of an Indian graveyard. At midnight, hanging from the branches, a corpse, upside down like a bat. And it can't talk. Hollywood gave us Dracula, capes, castles, Transylvania, but over 1,000 years before that book was ever written, India already had its own vampiric creature, older, smarter, and in some ways more dangerous. Because this one does not just drink blood. It knows your past, your present, and your future. And it will trade you that knowledge for your life. This is the Vetala series. Shortly you will see 7 parts to the story. A king, a trial, 25 riddles, a demon born from a god's own breath, and a colonial scholar who rebranded an Indian deity as a monster for the entire Western world to read. Let's begin. Echoes Obscura. The dark has a story and I tell it. The Vetala's true power. Dear Indians, I'm back with the Vetala story. There's a creature in Indian folklore so feared that just looking at it on the wrong night was said to be enough to stop a person's heart. Not because of its claws, not because of its fangs, because of what it could see inside your head. The Vetala, also called Baital, is a spirit that possesses corpses. It hangs upside down from trees near cremation grounds, like a bat wrapped in dead skin, waiting. But its real weapon is not its body. It is its mind. The Vetala knows everything, what already happened, what is happening right now, and what has not happened yet. It looks into a person's thoughts, finds their deepest fear and uses it against them. In ancient times, tantric practitioners worshipped the Vetala specifically for its power, hoping it would reveal the future or help them take revenge on an enemy. Many tried to capture one, and almost none succeeded. But one king did, and what happened to him is where this story truly begins. The king and the sadhu. If you're a white person and you never heard of the Indian king Vikramaditya, sit down and zip it. Every single day, a holy man visited the king's court. He never asked for anything. He brought no problems to solve. He simply bowed and placed a piece of fruit in the king's hand. For years, the king never even ate it. King Vikramaditya ruled the ancient city of Ujjain. Wise, fearless, loved by his people. One ordinary day, hunger got the better of him. He finally bit into the fruit the sadhu had given him, and a brilliant light spilled out from inside it. Hidden in the flesh of the fruit was a massive, priceless diamond. He immediately ordered every fruit the sadhu had ever given him retrieved from storage. Every single one cut open, every single one hiding jewels inside. The king understood instantly. This was no ordinary holy man. When he sent soldiers to summon the sadhu, the holy man agreed to return, but only one condition. The king would have to prove his courage first. The king had no idea that proof would nearly cost him his life. This is the story of the Indian 25 riddles. Part 2. The task sounded simple. Walk into the cremation grounds at midnight. Take down a corpse hanging from the tree. Carry it back. What the king did not know was that the corpse could talk, and that one wrong word would tear him apart. The corpse was the Vetala. The moment the king lifted it onto his shoulder, it spoke. It offered the king a trade. It would tell him a story. At the end, it would ask a riddle. The king had to answer, correctly or not, it did not matter. But if he stayed silent, his head would split apart instantly. And every time he answered, the Vetala would fly straight back to its tree, forcing the king to start the entire journey over 25 times. 25 stories, 25 riddles. 25 times the king walked back into that graveyard and lifted the corpse onto his shoulder again. He never once refused the answer. And on the 26th attempt, the Vetala did something it had never done before. It stopped testing him. The betrayal. The Indian king Vikramaditya was betrayed in part 1 and 2. Then he solved the riddles. And now the Vetala finally spoke without asking a riddle. It told the king the truth about why he was really there. And the truth was this. The holy man planned to use him as a human sacrifice. The sadhu's real plan had nothing to do with a blessing. He intended to offer the king's life to dark powers during the ritual, using the Vetala itself as the witness to gain immense forbidden strength. At first, the king doubted it. Why would the Vetala help him by exposing the plan? But the warning sat heavy in his mind the entire walk back. When he finally reached the sadhu, every doubt disappeared. The signs were unmistakable. The betrayal was real. The king, who never lost his composure, did not hesitate. He sentenced the sadhu to death on the spot. The Vetala, pleased that its warning had been trusted, offered the king any reward he wanted. The king refused it for himself entirely. He asked for something else. Brahma Rakshasa. There's a creature in Indian mythology that hunted humans, but before it did, it tried to eat its own creator. According to ancient texts, the very first being born from Brahma's breath turned on him within seconds of opening their eyes. When Vishnu cast these creatures down to earth to stop them, that single moment marked the birth of the Rakshasa, being of the night with sharp claws, fanged teeth, and burning red eyes feeding on human flesh and blood to maintain their power. Among them, one type is considered the most feared of all, the Brahma Rakshasa. These were once Brahmin priests who misused their sacred knowledge before death. Their punishment was eternal wandering, denied liberation, denied rest, trapped between worlds forever. Their appearance is the stuff of nightmares, a garland of human intestines around the neck, blood drunk from a cup carved out of a human skull. And across parts of India, temples dedicated to them still stand today, not to celebrate them, to keep them calm. The night Kali created vampires. The Indian demon Raktabija might be a reason why vampires were created. This demon, named Raktabija, received a curse that should have made him unstoppable. Every single drop of his blood that touched the ground would instantly become a brand new version of himself. The gods were losing, and the goddess Kali made a decision so extreme, it created an entirely new kind of creature. Every time a god struck Raktabija, his blood hit the battlefield, and hundreds of new demons rose up instantly from each drop. Kali's solution was to stop the blood from ever reaching the ground at all. She began drinking it directly from the battlefield, draining Raktabija dry before a single drop could multiply again. To help her, she created powerful beings whose entire purpose was to drink the blood of every Raktabija clone the moment it appeared, before it could touch the earth. When the battle ended and the Raktabija was finally destroyed, Kali realized something unsettling. The creature she had built specifically for this war could not survive without blood. So, blood sacrifice rituals began. A portion of every offering still goes to them. The vampires who helped a goddess win a war she could not win alone. The Vetala as a vampire. People keep saying that the Vetala is not a vampire. My channel is not just about vampires. It is about lore, cryptids, witches, and vampiric creatures. So let's talk about what that actually means. A vampiric creature is a being across one culture, any tradition, that sustains itself by draining something from the living. Blood, energy, life force, the soul itself. It does not need a cape, it does not need fangs, it does not need to be European. The Vetala possesses corpses to stay active in the living world. It drains the fear, the mental energy, and the life force of anyone who gets too close. Yes, it does not drink blood like Dracula, but it takes something from you every single time. Your peace, your sanity, your will to live. That is not a vampire. That is something older than the word vampire. And that is exactly why it belongs here. It is a vampiric creature. A vampire that became God. So here is an example how British people destroyed the Hindu mythology. In 1870, a British scholar translated the Vetala legend into English for the very first time. He gave it a title that would define how the entire Western world saw it. He called it Vikram and the Vampire. But in the village of Goa, people do not fear the Vetala. They build it temples. Sir Richard Burton's translation introduced Western readers the Vetala as a blood-drinking monster, folded nearly into the same category as Dracula and European folklore vampires. But that was never the full story. In Goa and the Konkan region, the Vetala is not feared as a predator. It is honored as a protector. Locals do not worship it out of fear. They believe it actively guards their villages from the evil spirits and darker forces that would otherwise prey on them. At night, when the temple doors are locked and no one is inside, witnesses claim the bells still ring on their own. No one has ever explained why. A creature that drinks blood, tests kings with riddles, knows every secret thought in your head, and in some corners of India, the same creature is the only thing standing between a village and something far worse. So for all of you who helped me put this story together, my highest appreciation, and thank you very much for teaching me something new. 7 videos, 1 creature with more names than almost any other in world mythology. A king who never broke, a god who tried to eat its own creator, a goddess who built monsters to win a war. And in Goa, that monster still rings a bell at midnight. Subscribe to Echoes Obscura, follow on every platform, because the dark still has a story, and I'll tell it. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.